Shock humor. Insults are risky, use finesse. Depending on your experience level, depends on whether or not you can get away with this, unless it's a roast. Don't insult or malice, and don't be offensive. Target authority. If you're in a group and somebody brings you in to speak, the person with the highest authority in that audience is the best target for you to use humor on, because you want somebody that usually has experienced it before and can usually take it based on their authority. If you are uncertain of that before you start, is there any in the audience that can take it if I wanted to pick on somebody in the audience? Believe me, they'll give you lots of names. But the higher up of the authority, the more people in the audience are going to laugh. If it's the boss, they're all going to laugh. So try and pick the person that has the highest authority or the bigger reason for the audience to laugh at that individual. That's what you want to do. I only joke about those people I respect. So you make sure, like, you'll tell a joke, you'll pick on somebody, and then maybe the audience might like woo or oh or ah. And so to recover from that, you can say, I only joke about those people I respect. I would only kid with someone big enough to take it. Because by the time you've given them all these scenario situations, they're not going to be coming back to you as they're insulted. But the best way to do that is before you start, let somebody know. Even in Toastmasters, if I'm going to pick on somebody from the audience during whatever I do, I always tell them in advance I'm going to do it. Do you mind? I don't tell them what I'm going to do because I want their facial expression surprise. But I do ask, do you mind if I pick on you? Most of the time people will say yes. And one thing I've learned about audiences, they all want to be part of the gag. They all want to be part of the show. They may not want to get up there, but they want to be a part of it. When I go to comedy clubs, I used to love to sit in the front row, because the last time I was married, my wife was 25 years younger than me. Do you have any idea what a comedian does in the front row when you're sitting there with the two of you? They come up with all kinds of situations to say. So I actually get to be part of the act. I just didn't get paid. Make the audience a part of the joke. 1 in 4 people are unstable. That's a fact. 1 of every 4 people is unstable. Look around this room. If you find 3 people that look pretty normal, then you're probably the one that's unstable. And now, for one last thought. Practice, practice, practice. Find a comic persona. Find a style. Find a premise that you like to work with. Are you that awkward person that doesn't deal well around other people? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Are you the individual that loves telling jokes? I have a Toastmaster friend in the Great Fort Lauderdale Club that I belong to. He's an attorney, and he tells me all kinds of jokes, clean ones and dirty ones. But he remembers them. Oh, every time I see him, he doesn't say hello first. He starts with a joke. I can't remember punchlines from jokes. I don't do jokes. I hate them because I can't deliver them. But he is great at it. And I tell him all the time, we need to go on the road and make it the David and David show, and we should start our own comedy routine. Open with a laugh and end with a laugh. Observe your audience, localize and personalize. If you're with an audience and you want to do a particular joke and anybody can fit into the story or situation that you're presenting, find somebody in the audience that you can work with, that you can use that name. Or if these are a group of doctors, talk about some medical procedure you had. Anything that the audience can relate to get you connected with them in the very beginning. Know your audience. Know who they are, what they're made of, what their composition is, why they're there in the audience, and what you can do to make them laugh. Because when you make them laugh and you get a point across, they're going to make certain that they know more about that than you could ever hope to know something about. Let's open it up for any questions and answers. Anybody have any questions? I might have an answer.
What is blue humor? What is
Blue humor?
Yeah.
That's when you're using off-colored words, dirty jokes, sexual innuendos, that type of stuff. That's blue humor. Things you would hear more in a comedy club than you would at a Toastmaster meeting. Not that I haven't heard of here, but it's just not as easily accepted in this audience as it is in a nightclub audience. Anybody else?
I may have missed it, but what was your burning passion to get into comedy? And,
When I first joined Toastmasters, I was at the Great Fort Lauderdale Toastmasters Club, and a gentleman by the name of Sam Cram was doing a speech on malapropisms. Malapropisms are when you say a word, but that word would have a different meaning than the way it sounds, and it sounds exactly like another word that could be considered off blue humor. But it wasn't. And so he gave this presentation, and it was hysterical. He won speech contests with it. And I watched the way the audience reacted to him, and then I went to the area contest with him and the division contest with him. And as I watched and the people laugh, it was exciting, it was exhilarating, it was something that I wanted to try. So I jumped in, first year I jumped into the humor speech contest, and I gave a speech called Tell Them Like It Really Is. And it was about me just getting out of college, going out looking for a job and looking for a career in a certain profession. And as I would do that, I learned in college certain things that you learn in your textbook. When you get out into the real world, you find out that what you learned in the textbook isn't really the way things are done in business in the real world. And many of you can relate to that who have been in business. So I gave that presentation. I told about all the things that I learned in college, and I would present them, and then I would find out that it really wasn't like that. And it made me, I won the speech contest. So it was fun. And winning one is all it takes to get you the hook. And once the hook gets in you and that laughter, well, from that point on, I don't think I ever gave a speech that was 100% serious. And I've been doing this for a long time. And what I like about it is my drug of choice is when you laugh. That's my rush, that's my excitement, that's what I love to do. And when I found that giving speeches in speech contests is only for 5 to 7 minutes, but if I learn how to be a good host or an MC or a Toastmaster or a contest master, I get to be up here on stage for a lot longer. So I started watching other people do. So basically, I'm now like the Ryan Seacrest of Toastmasters. I'm everywhere, I'm at all contests, people call me to ask, and I like to be the most sought after doing it because it's great for my ego, it's great to entertain, gives me a chance in Toastmaster to try out new material, what works, what doesn't work. And I've probably done the district level competitions as a contest master and an MC more than any Toastmaster I've known in the 41 years that I've been doing it. And it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun.
you have, I didn't finish with my questions.
I didn't?
I did not.
Oh.
You have, and I don't know if any others have seen you at your contest. I have a lot of ahs and ums tonight, don't I?
You're lucky we don't have a belt tonight.
You have an incredible ability that you mentioned doing a presentation while I was here of involving the audience and use what's there. You have a great listening skill and capability that you take what we do or say during the course of the event and then bring it back at the end in such a way. So how do you do that?
That's called observational humor. One of the things, and I told you earlier that there is humor in everything. But what I tend to do with whatever humor there is in a story, and it may not be a humorous story, it could be sad, but I'll take and pick on it, exaggerate it, and feed it back to you. So when speakers speak, I'll take notes by everybody speaks. They'll make one comment, they'll say one line, something that I think I can exaggerate to be funny. If somebody tells me that they celebrated their birthday, they went out with their friends, went to a bar, I'll usually utilize that comment about being out with their friends and being at a bar and say to them that now this person is in a 12-step program because they spent too much time out in the bar. Last night at the Great Fort Lauderdale, a lady gave a speech. Her speech was very serious speech, talking about improving yourself, learning from your background, what you see. And one of the things she talked about is she moved from New York. When I lived in New York, I worked every night, get out, go to the bars till 4 o'clock in the morning, and get up and do it all over again. Well, when I heard that, at the end, I said, and I thank you for moving to Florida. You're going to be a great asset to this club, and I'm glad we were able to prevent you from becoming the alcoholic that I know you were destined to do. She is really straight individual, and she would not ever be that. But what was so nice about it is she fed me the material. I was able to give it, and even she laughed at what I said. So what I do is I listen. I try and take something somebody says, a speech, and I do it here. I've done it in this club before, where if I'm the Toastmaster, Master Evaluator, or Table Topics, I listen to what everybody says, and then I commented on them. Let's recap on what we've learned. And so I'll tell you, we've learned that, and then I'll give a synopsis of the person's presentation. Totally different from what they've said, but I'll find something in it that I can use to be funny. Some are easier than others. I'll admit to that. Some are very difficult, but I am fortunate that I'm able to find humor in a lot of things people say. You hear my comments when I'm sitting in the audience, people say something, introduce themselves, I'll make a comment. It's observational humor, and being in this organization teaches you how to be a listener as well as a speaker. Because if you're a good listener, you can be a good speaker, because you want everyone else in the audience to listen when you give a presentation. And you, from up here, have to command that audience to do that. Hopefully that gives you, it's hard to pinpoint without giving an example, but I'd be willing to do a session one night where we'll do table topics all night, and after everybody gets done with all their table topics, I'll go back and recap what everybody said the way you're talking about it. I'll tell you when we do it.
Okay.
We are doing a table topics one sometime next month. We're going to do a table topic workshop, but maybe when we do that, especially since we'll have a lot of it, I'll make sure I'm there that night so that I can do my recap on what everybody said. Maybe I'll be the table topic master or something for that night.
Okay. Last question, and not apologizing, but 95 is for question, which is, as you said, everybody, I believe, wants to be funny, tries to be funny, but to get the nerve to get up there to give a speech that is humorous is worse than getting up there to speak in public, which is the thing. So how do you, for lack of a better word, compensate in that area to have the courage to stand up there and say, I'm giving a humorous speech?
Before you enter a speech contest, even at the club level, write a speech and then try to make it funny. Practice it here. What is this club for? This club is your lab. This is where you come in and you practice, because you're among people that have all been where you are, whether it be a serious speech that makes you afraid or a humorous speech that makes you afraid. This is the place you come and practice. And then you get an evaluation. From that evaluation, you can tweak your presentation to add to it what you learned from the evaluations of not only the person that evaluated you that evening, but also other members of the audience who might write a little note down. And if you're the kind of individual that when you speak, you want constructive feedback, what you need to do is ask whoever's introducing you to say, please, before the presentation, everybody be aware the speaker would like the feedback from the audience, so please write that person a note and send it to them, because in your ballots, on your ballot, it says speaker number 1, speaker number 2, speaker number 3, and you write a little note to them. And I encourage everybody to do it. It's that feedback that helps you get better. And it doesn't matter how experienced you are, a speaker. there's always something you can do to improve. That's why you tend to find more experienced speakers evaluating those that have been around a while. However, a new Toastmaster can evaluate a speaker because you're an audience member. You actually listen to it. What did you like about it? How did I see you? How did I hear you? What did I feel from what you said? You're capable of doing that, whether you're an evaluator or not. And that's how you get practice. Well, the same thing with humor. You have to practice. Most important thing that was up there, practice, practice, practice. And always alternate the audience. Don't only practice here.